Could you please tell us a little bit about the Veterans Day celebration that's happening next week, and who can I contact for that?
You want to contact Miss DeWall. Miss DeWall is going to go overboard with whatever celebration we have for Veterans Day, but she's amazing at putting it all together. But her and Miss Grimmett and Mr. Stroud, who've now taken over student council, they're all planning a big day. We'll start out front at 8:15 around the flagpole and spread people out. We'll have the band. We'll have a few band members that will play taps and some other stuff out there, and then we'll just talk a little bit and do a meeting around the flag and a silent moment for us to all pray in our own way for our veterans and what they've given us and all the freedoms that they afforded us. And then we're going to have, for our veterans here in this building, we're going to have a breakfast for them and their family in our library to honor each of those, like Mr. Dixon and some of those other people who've actually served. So it's just an opportunity for us to say thank you very much, that we sincerely appreciate what they've given us and all their sacrifice.
We understand CHS has expanded its food bank, and is there a greater need at this time from students and families for assistance?
Yeah, Hannah, we're at a point where we have some students in our building who've gone through months of not having jobs because of the pandemic, and some are able to get jobs again and some have not yet found jobs. Well, we want to be that go-between to make sure that we provide or every day they can come in and get something if they want, or especially over the weekend, we try to provide them. Of course, Miss Dinehammer in her garden, we pull fresh food in from that for them, and then we also have canned food. Mr. Poole in the back, he has a pantry we've put in the back of Mr. Poole's room back there. So just an opportunity for us to take care of people that need us. Isn't that what we should all be about, extending that hand of help anytime somebody needs one? And we don't want it to embarrass kids, so they can come by and we'll give them a backpack, and we fill the backpack full, and they can take it home, and then they can just bring it back every week for us to put food in it if that's what they would like to do. Or if, let's say, there's a kid who walks home or rides a bike home and can't carry a big old bag of food, we will absolutely deliver it onto their doorstep for them if that's what we need to do.
On the mask mandate, have the COVID cases at CHS been affected?
Absolutely not. It's been amazing to me because I thought it might. I think the thing that probably helps us in this building is your age group, and that a lot of our kids have gotten the vaccinations. And so I think it helps us tremendously. And still we have a lot of kids wearing masks. It's not like no one wears a mask. We still have a good bit of our population that still wear their masks. So far, knock on wood, we're about to go to Thanksgiving and Christmas break. We'll see how that does as people go to their families all over the United States. We'll see if it gives us a rise. That's what it did last year or the year before when we were here, that COVID really got a hold of us because people went to vacations with their families. So we'll see. Right now we're good. We're setting really good, and so I'm hoping we stay there or drop.
I think with the booster shot, it'll definitely help the COVID cases die down a bit more.
Absolutely. I got my booster shot on Monday, and my arm can hardly lift right now, Hannah. I mean, I'm like, it's sore, but other than that, I was fine. But, I highly recommend it. I mean, I highly recommend vaccinations and booster shots, and, we want to be safe. We want to get through this pandemic as safe as we possibly can, and with as little loss as we can possibly get through.
So how have students and parents reacted to the mask mandate lift?
Well, we've had mixed reviews. I get some pretty heated emails from some parents thinking that we're doing a horrible job here. And then the other side, I don't want my kid to wear a mask. Do not make my kid have to put a mask on. That's not our beliefs or what we want. So it's divided. I think it's more would like us to wear masks than those that would not like us to wear a mask, or at least they've been more vocal to me, the mask wearers. Parents, we'll see how it pans out, but we definitely have people on both sides of the ball. There's no question about that. And I do believe, I'm a firm believer in family choice. That's your child. I shouldn't demand something of your child unless the law tells me to demand it of what we're going to do. Our school board is the governing body for our building. And so when they make a rule or a law, I don't have much choice. We follow that law, and we do what we're supposed to do. And so for those first 18 weeks of school, or however 9 weeks of school, we had to make sure that we had masks on because that's what our school board wanted us to do. And then when they lifted the mask mandate, now it's just an option.
Now, with almost a month with an enforced dress code, has there been an increase on students actually being dress coded and sent to the office?
We've had a few. Here's the good thing, Hannah, the cold weather came. You know, the cold weather came, everybody's now in full gear because you can't not be without freezing to death. But I also say that our kids have been very respectful about it, and they have, you know, Miss Springer, we understand, we're going to dress more, you know, to be official and try to look the part of a student that comes to school as a person that's going out on a Saturday night with their friends. So our kids have been wonderful about that, and I just really appreciate that. We've had a few, and as soon as we said something, nobody fought. They went to the office, we give them a shirt for the day, we keep their shirt, and then they give it back to us at the end of the day and go home. So I just appreciate them realizing that when you've got a crowd of people this big with 3,000 kids in a building, that we do have to have some rules. We have to have some order, and I'm preparing you for a future. And that future is you're not going to go find a job unless you're dressed professionally or at least business casual, so that you have an opportunity to get that job and have a future where people take you seriously as opposed to a teenager for the rest of your life.
What is something, if anything, you're looking to currently improve or implement at CHS?
I just feel like getting social skills back for you guys. I think that's a big deal because you're not used to being around people. Like you were by yourself for 18 months. You studied when you wanted to study. You slept when you wanted to sleep. You ate when you wanted to eat. All of those things you've had control over your whole life and your whole days. Now we control your life and days. So having to make that shift for you guys has been a really tough social dynamic taking place. And so really just understanding that structure is really good. We don't like structure sometimes, but structure is really good because anywhere you're going to go, when you leave us, there's going to be structure. If you go into a business, if you go into a college, any of those things, there's structure. So we want to make sure that we are preparing you for what's ahead of you. The other thing is just getting along with other people. You know, when you're used to just surrounding yourself with the few people you trust and you felt comfortable with, and then you come here where there's 3,000 people and some you don't really even like. It's how do we respect each other and have differences from each other but still maintain that respect for all. And that's what I hope in this building. If I could push one thing, that's it. I'm a big believer in kindness. I'm a big believer in respect. I'm a big believer in we all have something to offer. And the judgment and the look down on somebody because they're different than us, they're a different culture, they have a different belief system, they don't love the people we think they should. All of those things for me frustrate me because that's life, that's the world that we live in. People make different choices than we do. Because they make different choices doesn't mean that we can't be friends with them, we can't have a relationship with them, and make sure that we can get along. We want people to be what we want them to be, and I want to tell every student in this building, be who you are. You can only change yourself for so long. You'll try to change yourself to fit into a group, you'll try to change yourself because of peer pressure, and pretty soon what happens when you continue to do that is the stress of trying to be something you're not eats away at you. Be who you are and be proud of who you are. Stand up. I'll protect you as much as I possibly can. I want us to accept individuals different than we are and realize don't judge somebody by the outer cover. Find out what's inside of them, find out who they are, and if they're worthy of being your friend, you'll be amazed sometimes you'll find a friend for life.
Yeah, I feel like when I came back from, home, working from home, I feel like I was a bit nervous because I haven't seen people in a long time.
Absolutely.
And then I came back and I feel like a week later, it's like I never left school.
Yeah. I have to say, when y'all first got back, it was so wonderful to see y'all in this building, to see so many people in the building. I know it freaked y'all out a little bit. It freaked me out a little bit, to be quite honest with you, because I wanted to keep you safe. I wanted to make sure we could put you all in this building and keep you as safe as we possibly could. And, when we have passing period, there's not a lot of space. I mean, you're kind of on top of each other. The good thing is you're constantly moving. You're not there 15 minutes with each other, which is a good thing. But I'm like you, Hannah. I felt like for almost 18 months you were secluded. I mean, really secluded. It was your family and maybe a few friends. And here we threw you back into the mix. And some of the kids had never even been in this building before. They didn't know where the rooms were. They didn't know anything about Coppell High School because they didn't get to be here their whole sophomore year. So it was very interesting bringing in a whole new group of freshmen, a whole group of sophomores, a few juniors that got to spend some time with us. And then it was just like, okay, and so only the people knew where to go with seniors. I kept telling them, help people know where to find their classrooms and get to where they need to be. So it was all just a change. It was an overnight change for y'all. You know, you're here and now you're thrown back into the mix. But I think after, like you said, after a week, people realized, they settled down, they started knowing where to go in the building, they started to understand, oh, we have rules again. We have to, you know, be awake when we come to class. We have to make sure we do what the teacher asks of us. So I think we're getting back to a little bit of normal. Just in time for a Thanksgiving break and a Christmas break.
Yeah. Thanksgiving break's almost here.
It is. I'm very thankful for it.
Me too. What can we as students do better to care for our school?
A couple of things, I think. We have a custodial staff in this building, Hannah, that works so hard, and there's not a lot of them. And we sometimes forget that we need to respect those people. And how do we respect them? We pick up our own trash. We're walking down the hall, we drop something, we just leave it laying in the floor. I was walking down, we've got a beautiful building. I don't think people realize, sometimes I think I should take you guys to a place where you see what other people don't have as opposed to what you do have here, and make you realize we need to protect it. We need to take care of it. We need to respect this building and the cleanliness of this building, and how to get along in this building with a bunch of people that do make messes. So just help our custodians. They're good people and they work so hard. The more we mess this place up, the more work they have. So be respectful of those people that don't make a lot of money to do a lot of work that nobody else wants to do, and thank them when you see them. Thank you for the job you do for us. I appreciate you. Man, that goes a long, long way. The second thing I think I would like for you guys to know that's so vitally important to make Coppell High School the place it needs to be is, like I said before, we have a lot, y'all are so used to social media. It might be the downfall of your generation, to be quite honest with you, but social media, you are able to judge people, say what you want without having to look somebody in the face and say those things. We bring all that back to school and it causes all kinds of arguments and rifts and all of those things. And if I could teach teenagers one thing, it's people are going to say things about you. You can't control that. It's part of life. I can assure you, as a principal of Coppell High School, there's a lot of things said about me behind my back. I absolutely know that. Be confident in who you are. Be assured of who you are and what you're doing. The second thing is, the only reason that it should really bother you is if somebody's harassing you. If it's harassment and bullying, then yes, come and tell one of my assistant principals, myself, let us get help and keep those people from doing that. But just a casual somebody saying something bad at you, do not own that. Do not make it change your day. Realize that you're an amazing person. You don't need somebody else to validate that. Validate it yourself and surround yourself. I just sent something to my staff this morning and it says, whoever you spend the most time with is who you're going to become. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are positive, who are grateful, who are thankful for what they have, and who get along with other people without trying to change them into what they think they should be. So if I could change anything in this building, it would be stay off that social media, and especially don't put something on there you don't want on there for the rest of your life, because if you post something and you come try to get a job with me, I'm going to pull up your social media. I'm going to see what kind of person you are and what you're posting. I'm going to see what you're wearing. I'm going to see who you're hanging out with. Guess what? If I do that for a school, I can assure you businesses are going to do the same thing one day. So know that whatever you post today will still be there tomorrow and for the rest of your life. So be smart with social media. Don't let it change your life.
What is something you've been impressed with this year at CHS?
You guys, students, I mean, so much. I just wearing my band shirt today because our band has been phenomenal this year. Watching them do their carousel performance, I have cried every single time I've seen it. I know that sounds so weak, but I don't know what it is. I see all of these beautiful people, like so many different kids doing so many different things. We've got our color guard, we've got all of our band, we've got a lariat who comes out and dances during the carousel. I mean, I just, seeing that talent and seeing that dedication to a program, seeing that dedication to each other as a team, just warms my soul. And the minute they start playing and that beautiful music comes out, man, I went to area and I cried like a baby. The mothers were looking at me like, I think she's crying over there. It was tears of pride. I mean, so much. I went upstairs yesterday and watched the We Are One project that APUSH did. Seeing so many different kids and their beautiful talents, some of the art that I saw up there was phenomenal. We had kids cooking, we had kids playing instruments, we had kids that were biographers and demographers, and I mean, it was amazing, inventors, and it was just cool to see the talents of all of our kids, their intellectual abilities. I went to a IB classroom and heard a debate. Phenomenal. The critical thinking, the intelligence that's coming out of kids, their opinions and thoughts. I love it. The thing that impresses me is you guys. I mean, every single day you impress me with what you do and the talents that you have. Our sports teams, you know, Andrew Mullen going to state for cross country. I mean, who wants to just run for the fun of it? Only Andrew Mullen, I think. But I'm just very proud of the many different talents I get to see from you guys on a daily basis. You teach me so much every single day that I come here.
So will House Bill 3979 affect how history is taught in classrooms?
Yeah, I'm not really fond of House Bill 3979, but I think we're so divided in some ways in this country. You know, I haven't seen us polarized like this in quite some time, where we think, you know, the left and the right can't possibly meet in the middle and figure out how to best compromise and make our country a better place. So I think House bills start coming out because of fear. I think you can't make decisions with fear. When you make decisions with fear, then what happens is you disrupt society, you disrupt what we're trying to put together. And what are we trying to put together? We're trying to put together a country, and that's who we are. We're a melting pot. We started this country with immigrants. So what we're trying to do is make sure that everybody has a place at the table. Everybody has a chance to be successful. Everybody in America has the freedom to be a person that can own property, that can have a business, that can do the things that we think they should do. Well, when we start putting rules in place where we're worried that people are going to think that one side is bad and the other side is good, we all have a little bit of bad and good in us, every single person. So what we need to do is find what do we have in common. And what most of us have in common is that we all want to be loved, cared for, and accepted. And if we would ever figure that out and realize that's it, I'm not a big fan of politics because I think politics stands in the way of just what we really need to do in this world, and that's get along with each other, accept each other, find ways to build each other up as opposed to knock each other down or hold each other down. So 3979 to me, not wanting teenagers to talk about current events, I mean, that's what makes you grow and learn and have an opinion. We're not saying we want to give you our opinion, but we want you to develop an opinion of facts, not of things people talk about that may be right or may not be right, but look at the facts, and then once you see those facts, make some decisions for yourself. What do you believe? How would you vote? What do you think we need to do for this country? That's what we need to do, as opposed to saying, no, we only want to tell you this side, because if we just tell you this side, maybe you'll realize that this is what the real truth is. The real truth is we've done some bad things along our country, along the way, as we've grown this country and learned from one another. And you learn from those things. You learn not to repeat those. The sad thing is history does repeat itself many times. But for me, I want you to have critical conversations. I want you to hear different sides of things and make your own opinion. Our job as teachers and educators, and we have some amazing educators in this building. I guess the second piece of 3979 that frustrates me, Hannah, is that there's some politicians that don't want to allow teachers to do their job. And what that job is to come to a building and be a neutral source for you to learn facts and opinions from both sides, and then you make your own opinion. We are not here to try to sell you one way or another, but we are here to make you see both sides and come up with a valid reason why you're supporting one side or the other. That's what we do as good educators. So if you're a politician and you've never been in a classroom, don't tell us how to run our classrooms. We don't tell you how to run your politics. I just think that's very important.
Last question. Now, will there be a Shattered Dreams program this year?
You know, Hannah, we're not going to do Shattered Dreams, and let me tell you why. I started Shattered Dreams. The very first Shattered Dreams, I went to, it started at a small private school that's close by us. I went and watched it, brought it back to our principal at the time, Jimmy Spann, and said, hey, this will be a great program, because at that time, we had lost about 3 kids to drunk driving. And I wanted to make sure that we put this program out there to make sure we don't drink and drive. I think we've come a long way from drinking and driving. I think we have finally realized that, I mean, I'm not saying that we don't have teenagers who don't do it or do it, but what I'm saying is I think there's bigger focuses that we could have right now. And part of that could be many different things, the drug use, the pill use, you know, the vaping. All of those things are things that are very important to your age group right now. Those are programs I want to bring to this building. I think Shattered Dreams is good for the people who are in the wreck. I think they're good for their friends, but I think there's a bunch of kids standing out there going, I don't want to do this and I don't want to be a part of this. Plus, I feel like we have put together so many beautiful Shattered Dreams programs that we can still show those videos and let those people see what was Shattered Dreams like when we did it here. But it's a huge production that worked from the city, the fire, the police, everybody, and I felt like there's more that we could do, and with the money we spend for that, the time we spend for that, I think there's other programs we can bring for y'all that will be just as beneficial. Those programs we're trying to bring, I can't tell you when exactly they're going to be right now because of COVID. And so there's certain times I can bring y'all all together, and there's certain times I can't. Right now we've gone outside every time we've done a pep rally because we didn't want to put everybody in the arena at the same time. So in the spring, if we continue to see numbers with COVID the way it is, I'm hoping we can start having assemblies with all of you in there. We've had our junior and senior just because we had to get y'all to get your rings and your cap and gown. But I'm hoping that we start being able to bring programs back to us in the spring. That's our goal.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.